You're watching Euronews now. These are our top stories. A blast rips through a shopping centre on the outskirts of Kyiv as a new 24-hour curfew comes into effect in the capital from 8 p.m. Ukraine rejects Russia's deadline. Moscow offered surrender in exchange for safe passage out of Mariupol. And a China Eastern Airlines plane carrying 123 people on board crashes in the southern province of Guangxi.
At least 4 people were killed after the Russian forces shelled a shopping center in Podil, just outside Kyiv, early on Monday. A huge blast shook the city and fires could be seen blazing in the wreckage of the Retroville Mall. Authorities are still searching for victims.
In besieged Mariupol, Russian aircraft dropped a bomb on an art school. People were hiding there, hiding from shelling, from bombing. There were no military positions. There were about 400 civilians.
These pictures allegedly show a school destroyed by Russian shelling in Mariupol, a city that many reports say has been mainly reduced to ashes by Russian fire. Moscow set a deadline for Mariupol to lay down its arms and surrender, something Ukrainians rejected. But Moscow didn't say how it would act if this deadline was not respected.
We call on units of the armed forces of Ukraine, territorial defense battalions, foreign mercenaries to stop hostilities, lay down their arms, and along the humanitarian corridors, agreed with the Ukrainian side, enter the territories controlled by Kyiv.
The northeastern city of Kharkiv has been under heavy shelling too, but remains in the hands of the Ukrainian authorities. Most of its civilian population escaped west. Ukrainian President Zelenskyy has also criticized Israel for its reluctance to send its missile defense technology to Ukraine, telling its parliament Israeli missile defense systems are the best in the world and they could definitely help Ukraine.
At least 8 people have been killed when this residential district was hit by shelling in the early hours of Monday morning. Across this area, several apartment blocks have been partially destroyed. And as you can see behind me, this parking space of the shopping mall here has been completely destroyed. Emergency responders rushed to the scene to try and put out the flames. And of course, those reports of casualties continue to come forward, continue to evolve. Over the last few days, several residential districts across the Ukrainian capital have been hit by shelling. Most of the time, shrapnel, parts of missiles that have been intercepted by the Ukrainian air defense system. This area has been badly damaged, and across us, these residential buildings have their windows completely shattered. For now, Ukrainian soldiers say they are holding their position in the multiple fronts in suburbs of Kyiv. But of course, the sound of explosions and these shellings are getting ever so close to the heart of the Ukrainian capital. Annelise Borges from Kyiv for Euronews.
Ukraine peace talks are expected to resume today in a video conference format. Turkey's foreign minister said on Sunday that Russia and Ukraine were near an agreement on critical issues. Reportedly, Turkey is in close contact with negotiators from both sides. In an interview with the Turkish daily Hürriyet, Mevlut Çavuşoğlu said, quote, "We can say we are hopeful for a ceasefire if the sides do not take a step back from the current positions." But it is still not clear what exactly a possible agreement could be founded on. The head of Russia's negotiation team, Vladimir Medinsky, spoke on Friday about progress on 2 points: Ukraine's refusal to join NATO and the country's neutrality. However, Mikhailo Podolyak, advisor to the head of the Ukrainian president's office, responded on Telegram saying that the statements by the Russian side were only their requests and were aimed, among other things, as he said, at provoking tension in the media. Mr. Podolyak stressed that Ukraine's position in negotiations remains unchanged: ceasefire, withdrawal of troops and strict security guarantees with concrete formulas. Galina Polonskaya, Euronews from Paris.
That with Soviet invading forces in Afghanistan, neither the American people nor I will support sending an Olympic team to Moscow.
It started as a small protest from a minor transport association, but soon it built up to a bigger strike as more truck drivers joined the industrial action against the fuel prices hike.
We have stopped working because we cannot keep losing money, but we've reached a point where we can already see there are supply shortages. Factories and big companies are being forced to close because they run out of supplies. Now we can see the effects of this strike.
The protest has channeled the growing social discontent in Spain as it suffers the consequences of inflation that's related to soaring energy prices and which has worsened after the invasion of Ukraine. The strike in the transport sector has disrupted the supply chain, and in supermarkets, some fresh products are becoming scarce. Farmers and livestock owners are suffering the consequences of the strike, but they share some of their problems.
This is a problem that is now affecting the whole of society and all sectors. For us farmers and livestock owners, it's something that we've been suffering for months. It's worsened even more with the war in Ukraine. Some farmers can no longer keep going, especially livestock owners. Fodder prices have skyrocketed, the price of energy they need for their business has soared, fuel prices have also gone up, everything they need to produce has become more expensive.
150,000 people attended a demonstration in Madrid demanding solutions for the agricultural sector. Inflation in Spain is now at 7.6%.
The Spanish government has pledged to take steps to reduce the cost of energy and fuel, but it will only lay out its plans by March 29th, as Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez is currently on a European tour to lobby for a common EU response to soaring energy prices. But for thousands of Spaniards who have gathered here today, the government response is arriving too late. In Madrid, Jaime Velázquez, Euronews.
A Chinese passenger plane with 132 people on board has crashed in a mountainous area of southern China. The number of casualties and the reason for the crash are not yet known, but it's feared there are no survivors. Rescue crews sent to the crash site say a fire in the woods caused when the aircraft came down has been put out. The flight was travelling from Kunming in the western province of Yunnan to the industrial centre of Guangzhou along the east coast when it crashed at around 2:30 p.m. local time in the southern province at Guangxi. Chinese airlines generally have a good safety record. The last major accident took place 12 years ago.
We'll take a short break here, but do remember to head over to euronews.com for all of our top stories.